Hi, my name is Hang Tong Nguyen, and I'm here to answer a few questions related to the Lean Startup and the business model canvas. All the information that I'm talking today is based on this article, Why the Lean Startup Changed Everything by Steve Blank. So first, what does customer development process mean? So the customer development process means when the lean startups use the get out the building approach to test their hypothesis. They go out and ask potential customers and partners for feedback on all the elements of the business model, such as product features, pricing, distribution channels, and so on. They use the customer feedback to build MVP and use the customer input to revise their assumption. So basically, if the customer feedback reveals that is business hypotheses are wrong, then they can either revise it, redesign it, and make adjustments, or pivot to new hypothesis. So once the model is proven, the startup will start executing, and a startup will probably fail several times before they can find the right approach. So the customer development process is a repeated process, and the emphasis is on the flexibility, adaptability, and speed. The second question is, what is the relationship between customer development process and the business model canvas? So the business model canvas allows a startup to test their hypothesis about their business in order to search for repeatable and scalable business models. The fact is, the more hypotheses they have, the more tests they have to run, but then the lower risk they will reduce. Reducing the unknowns, the only way they can do that is to get out of the building and talk to the customer. The customer feedback plays an important role in the whole process of testing the hypothesis, from validating the problems, validating the solution, and based on the customer's feedback, the entrepreneur can create an MVP to try out their proposed solution on the customers. The customer feedback is crucial to the pivoting of the business idea and the product development. So startup continues to test all other hypotheses and tries to validate customer interest through the early orders or product usage. When the product is refined enough to sell, the entrepreneur then using its proven hypothesis to scale up and focus more on marketing and sales. The third question is, what lean startup do differently than traditional companies? As a matter of fact, there are many things that the lean startup do that are differently from the traditional companies, from strategy, new product process, engineering, organization, financial reporting, failure, and speed. So this table of content lists all of these aspects. However, I want to emphasize on three main things that the lean startup do differently. First one, rather than spending months in planning and researching, the startup just accept that all they have is untested hypothesis. So instead of writing a long and time-consuming business plan that includes 5-year forecast for income, profits, and cash flows, that is so fictional and unrealistic, they'll summarize their hypothesis in business model canvas. Secondly, in the traditional way, the entrepreneur will use the business plan to convince investors. And once they have the money from the investors, they'll begin to develop the products. They will invest time, money, and labor to get the products to launch with little input from the customers. And only after building and launching the products, they will then get the customer feedback that maybe the customer don't need or want most of the features of the products. So opposite to this approach, the lean startup will use the customer development process or get out the building approach to ask for the customer feedback on all the elements of the business model. Then they will make change or pivot, and they ask for feedback from the customer again and continue to redesign, make adjustment, and improving their MVP. This approach allows them to fail early on, but then with the customer's input and feedback, they will save time, money, and make sure that their products serve customer needs. The third one, the lean startups use the agile development. So agile development works hand in hand with the customer development. Instead of having long product development cycles that just assume about the customer problems and customer needs, the agile development eliminates the wasted time and resources by developing the product in short and repeated cycles. A startup produces an MVP only contain the critical features of the products. And then based on that, they gather the feedback from the customers, and then they start over again with a revised MVP. Last but not least, the fourth question, how does design thinking fit into the lean startup approach? So here are the main 6 steps of design thinking: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and implement. So the design thinking goes perfectly with the lean startup because design thinking process involved with the customers from the beginning through testing and until the end. So the first step is empathize. So even before having a problem or solution, an entrepreneur starts with customers. So they will go out, talk, and interview the customers. Their goal is to understand the customer's problem, their pain points while doing their task. They want to understand without any judgment. And after that, they will then define the problems, the challenges, and the customer personas that they want to go for. The third step that they will ideate, brainstorming as many ideas as possible. And in the prototype phase, they want to create mock-ups, MVP, and the goal of prototype is to create simple mock-up and MVP to get feedback from the customers. Remember, they want to fail fast, fail quick, and fail cheaply. With the agile methodology, they design products with simple main features and continuously improving until they have the final results that work for their business model. During the testing process, it means that they want to collect the feedback from the customers to see what works, what doesn't work, and what can be improved. Finally, when all these steps are repeated, the entrepreneur will have the decent amount of feedback and proven hypothesis. And now they can start executing the idea into more involving product and solution. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have some more understanding about the lean startup and the business model canvas.